look at each other.
Okay.
You know?
Oh yeah, you look great. Thank you. Might have to give it to you.
Actually, I think I'd love to probably with you.
Whereas the other, yeah, I'm not sure why. We haven't had I might get dizzy.
Yes, I see. Where did that come from?
I bought it in Israel. This yarmulke.
Oh, that's great. I got a big one of these. Wow.
I got another one. No, it's not. Oh, you look really good though.
Thank you. Thanks, George. Hoping this will be smooth.
You guys at the full bread at 5 minutes?
We were at the bakery at 7. Literally nothing. Yeah, I want some.
Actually, I'm sorry.
Is that your foot? I just wrangled.
Yeah, no, it's okay.
Step on the top and step on the You know, we really need these guys. This is the live stream?
Yeah. Put the delay on. Oh, wow. A few minutes delayed.
There's the camera right there.
Yeah. The choir has requested that they be included in the
there would be wonderful.
Excellent.
I'm well. I'm feeling.
Thank you for your card.
Thank you.
So you snag the front seat.
Well, I was told to sit here, so I'm sitting. Okay. No, it's just I was here 2.5 hours ago because Alex had play rehearsal. So it was here from 3 to 4, 3 to quarter to 5, and then rush home, eat dinner.
Your life.
No one's sitting.
I need 4 seats.
Baruch haba b'shem Adonai. Blessed are all of you who enter in the name of the Holy One.
Blessed are you, blessed are you.
Shana Tova. Good Yom. Erev Rosh Hashanah always feels like a kind of a homecoming here. For those of you who are here every year, for those who are guests, or for whom this is your first time, it's really a pleasure to welcome you home for these holidays. And I also want to extend a welcome to those who are joining us via live streaming. And for me, I have to say that, this is a really precious moment. And I think I'm going to be feeling this way a lot during these holidays as this is our last high holiday season together in this way. So I'm feeling a lot of love for everyone here, and I look forward to sharing these moments together. So just a few words of framing and introduction and orientation. There are a number of changes this year. For those of you who've been coming here for a long time, you'll notice that this is the first time we're ever using this particular machzor. It's the first time this High Holiday Prayer Book is actually being used at all in the world. It was just published by the CCAR, by our Reform Movement Rabbinical organization that publishes our prayer books. And we went through a long process to pilot and plan and adopt it and raise the money. And I want to just thank everybody who was a part of that whole process that was led by our Religious Affairs Committee, chaired by Laura Roman. A new machzor. It doesn't mean that it will be a completely new high holiday experience. In planning, our goal has been to keep these services feeling like home, feeling familiar, especially the music. But the services will certainly have a new flavor. And I'll say that having worked with these new books now for a few months, I love them even more than when I started. And I really believe that they're really a tool, and this tool will enrich our experience and raise our prayers even higher. Logistically, the way we use this prayer book is similar to how we use our Mishkan Tefillah prayer book. This is called Mishkan HaNefesh, our Shabbat and holiday prayer book, where if you don't hear me announce a page number, it means we just turned the page. There are a number of choices on every 2-page spread for what we might be doing, and when we're done with whatever choice we made, we'll just turn the page. If we skip pages, I promise to tell you where we're going. Another big change this year, which is not a happy change, is that our beloved John D. Nicola will not be on the bima with us, and that's another reason why I'm all, full of tears. He won't be with us helping to lead with his gorgeous, gorgeous voice. And while he is doing all right and he is slowly recovering from an illness that makes it difficult for him to be with us, our hearts are obviously with him. He's here in a lot of ways. But I know that his actual voice and presence will really be deeply missed. And I have great faith that in the future he will be back up on this bima on the holidays. So I want to extend special thanks to our choir and to Cantor Belinda, especially some soloists from the choir that will join us tomorrow morning, who are covering pieces that John usually sings. And I know that you all will be generous and patient with all of us as we try to make up for this loss, but this loss will be felt absolutely in these services. So this holiday, I'll just conclude, it's not all about us, right? The world outside of these walls is in great need of our love and attention. Especially we are aware of this refugee crisis, the worst refugee crisis since World War II occurring on our globe. And you may have noticed flyers out front. You can take one home with you. This is a way to learn a little bit more about the flow of refugees coming from Syria and other places, Iraq, trying to get to Europe, trying to get to lots of different places in the world, to Turkey. And we have some steps here on this flyer for how you can get involved. to advocate that our country include 100,000 Syrian refugees in addition to the 70,000 other refugees admitted last year. You can call the president. You have a little script here on this flyer. You can go to the highest website, the Hebrew Immigrant Aid Society, which is our very own Jewish refugee agency, and advocate that way. You can also give money. So please do take one of these on your way out. And I really do pray that our earthly community can find it in our hearts and in our homes, some space to give them sanctuary this year. So let's take a few moments to meet and greet each other and wish each other Shana Tova as we get started this evening.
See you again.
Really? Oh, wow. Should open up. Crazy.
And we'll have a chance to enjoy each other's company even more so after the service with honey, cake, and other delicious delights waiting for us. So but we begin with our prayers now, and we're going to invite up the Kleinberg family to light our Yom Tov candles. And you can find the blessing on page 11 in the Mahzor.
All the stars are hidden and the moon is dark tonight. In the wide expanse of heaven, north to south, not a ray of light. Light a bright candle in my heart-shattered tent, and through the wide expanse of heaven, the light will shine. Where there is sadness, let us offer love. Where there is fear, let us reach for hope. On this eve of the new year, may we bring light to one another.
Little candle surgery here. There we go. They teach you this in rabbinical school. They also teach you not to put the candles right under the air conditioning vent. Because look at that. I promise the new year will come no matter what. But let's not burn the fingers. We're going to try one more time. On page 13. This autumn night The shades of darkness in the sky are signs of Earth's turning, the fleeting ways of nature. And we, drawn together in this holy house, filled with New Year's hope and light, turn our hearts toward you in prayer, in worship, seeking life's essence. In the presence of your love, we feel the nearness of those who bless our lives, even in death. Precious memories of their love restore our strength, renew our faith in life's goodness. We acknowledge with gratitude the life you have given us, the bounty that sustains us, your comfort in sickness and sorrow, your compassion in valleys of despair. God of years, God of eternity, bless us now and always. Bless our homes and our families. Be with us in our dreams and in our hopes. Be with us through these days of awe as we search our souls within and seek the lasting shelter of your love. On page 17 in our Machzor, we have an opportunity for a traditional prayer called Hineni. Traditionally, this is for the prayer leaders to recite in humility, asking for strength and inspiration to be able to lead all of you these next many days in prayer. But this book recognizes that we all need some strength, and we all come here with a sense of humility, and that all of us are on this journey together. So after Cantor Belinda chants an excerpt from this Hineni prayer, you're all invited to continue silently on your own, looking at pages 16 and 17 for an opportunity to reflect on what can we all bring to these days of prayer. And now perhaps we're a little more prepared to announce this new year. And I invite everyone to rise, turn to page 15. And we invite up Stu and Marcy Baker to open the ark. And we invite up Rita Christopher and Joey Gister to give us a taste of that shofar sound. At the new moon, at the full moon, for our feast day, sound the shofar, for that is the law of Israel, the way of the God of Jacob. Hallelujah, b'teka shofar. Praise God with the blast of the shofar. Baruch atah Adonai, shomea kol truat amo Yisrael, barach amim. Blessed are you in our lives, Adonai. You hear with love the shofar, true voice of your people, Israel. Tekiah. On page 19. Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu ve'imotenu yehi ratzon shenizke lebirchotecha bishnat chameshet alafim u'shva me'ot v'shiv'im v'shesh. Elohei olam barech otanu ve'et kol Beit Yisrael b'chidush yameinu b'simcha u'b'shalom b'nechama u'b'ometz lev b'chilutz atzamot u'b'ruach eitana yehi pri sifatenu mekubal v'ratzui milfanecha Bifros Hashanah HaChadasha, La'ad Modim Anachnu Lach Al Matnat HaChayim. Our God and God of our ancestors, may we know your blessings in the year 5776. Eternal One, bless us and the whole house of Israel with renewed life, happiness, and peace, comfort and courage, resilience and strength. May the words of our heart be acceptable to you in the new year that stretches before us. We are forever grateful for the gift of life. On page 23. Bless Adonai, who spins day into dusk. With wisdom watch the dawn gates open. With understanding let time and seasons come and go. With awe perceive the stars in lawful orbit. Morning dawns, evening darkens, darkness and light yielding one to the other, yet each distinguished and unique. Marvel at life, strive to know its ways, seek wisdom and truth, the gateways to life's mysteries. Wondrous indeed is the evening twilight. The quickening of the moon calls us to return, and we gather, seam dwellers on the edge of the earth. As the sun lowers itself into the sea, introspection rises. A sliver cracks the heart of the firmament, the vast blackness, an invitation to write ourselves anew. Baruch atah Adonai, ha'ma'aviv aravi. Blessed are you, Adonai, creator of twilight and dusk. Yisrael, for you are blessed, the one who loves your people, Israel. Page 28. Together in the English, back on page 28. You shall love Adonai, your God, with all your mind, with all your soul, and with all your strength. Set these words which I command you this day upon your heart. Teach them faithfully to your children. Speak of them in your home and on your way, when you lie down and when you rise up. Bind them as a sign upon your hand. Let them be a symbol before your eyes. Inscribe them on the doorposts of your house and on your gates. Be mindful of all my disposed to do them. Thus you will become holy to your God. I, Adonai, am your God, who brought you out of Egypt to be your God. I, Adonai, am your God. Adonai, Elohim, Amen. Truth and faith, these are fundamental to our existence. God alone is their source, and we are Israel, a people of God. Our sovereign saves us from tyranny, redeems us from its violence through countless wonders, from its brutality through great feats beyond measure. We are Israel, a people of God, the giver of life who would not let our feet give way, the maker of miracles for us against Pharaoh, of signs and portents in the land of Egypt, the one who brought our people Israel from its midst to enduring freedom. Witnesses to this heroic might, the people thank and praise God by name, freely accepting the reign of heaven. Then Moses and Miriam and all Israel sang to you this song of utter joy. One day, a few days after the liberation, I walked through the country, past flowering meadows, for miles and miles, toward the market town near the camp. Larks rose to the sky, and I could hear their joyous song. There was no one to be seen for miles around. There was nothing but the wide earth and sky and the lark's jubilation and the freedom of space. I stopped, looked around and up to the sky, and then I went down on my knees. At that moment, there was very little I knew of myself or the world. I had but one sentence in mind, always the same. I called to Adonai from my narrow prison, and God answered me in the freedom of space. Watch over us, we who go forth to life. Watch over us that we may come home in peace now until the end of time. Baruch atah Adonai, haporeis sukat shalom, aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael, ve'al Yerushalayim. Blessed One, you spread over us a canopy of peace, a shelter of shalom over all Israel, your people, and over Jerusalem. Page 40. What is the purpose of our prayers? Connection with the past, the expression of hopes for the future, a moment of personal transcendence and clarity, a strong bond with a community that shares our values and sings the melodies we cherish. These are all worthy reasons to pray. But on this holy day, our worship has another dimension. Embedded in Jewish tradition is the idea that the essential purpose of prayer on Rosh Hashanah is the sanctification of God's name. What does it mean to sanctify God's name? On the simplest level, Jews perform this act by saying, Kadosh Atah, you are holy, in the great prayer called the Kedushah, short for Kedushat Hashem, the sanctification of the name. During the days of awe, 3 short prayers are added to the Kedushah. These passages, each beginning with the Hebrew word uchein, literally and so, describe a world so fused with the holiness of God. What would that look like? In the first passage, all creation is united by a sense of awe and reverence for the divine. In the second, the Jews, a people historically vulnerable and often despised, receive honor and respect, kavod. And in the third, evil has been vanquished by righteousness. Together, these 3 prayers set forth a vision of a world in which God's presence is felt and experienced everywhere. We sanctify God, therefore, not only verbally by reciting Kadosh Atah, but also by realizing that vision through our actions, showing reverence for all creation, giving kavod to all people, especially those who are vulnerable and needy, and embodying righteousness in all that we do. The message of these 3 passages is reinforced by the compelling climax of the evening Kedushah, The source of all might is exalted through justice. The God of holiness made holy through righteousness. God's holiness is dependent on human beings who extend the reach of the divine into dark corners of the world by embracing awe, showing honor, and acting with righteousness. And so in your holiness, give all creation the gift of awe. Turn our fear to reverence. Let us be witnesses of wonder, perceiving all nature as a prayer come alive. We bow to the sovereignty of your strength, the primacy of your power. We yearn for connection with all that lives, doing your will with wholeness of heart. Awe-inspiring is your creation, all-encompassing your transcendent being.
Painting Kavod, Adonai le'amecha, le'amecha, tehillah le'leyecha v'tikva le'dolshecha, tehillah le'leyecha v'tikva le'dolshecha.
Together. And so in your holiness, give your people the gift of honor. Bless with praise those who praise you. Bless with hope those who seek you. Give your believers a basis for faith. True happiness for the land of Israel. True joy in Jerusalem. May the sparks of David your servant soon grow bright enough for us to see a beam of light in the darkness, a promise of perfection. Together. And so in your holiness, give the righteous the gift of a vision bright with joy, a world where evil has no voice, and the rule of malevolence fades like wisps of smoke. Good people everywhere will celebrate the stunning sight of arrogance gone from the earth. You and you alone, Adonai, will reign over creation upon Mount Zion, home of your presence, and in Jerusalem, a city set apart by you. As the psalmist believed, Adonai will reign eternally, your God, Zion, for all generations. Hallelujah.
Baruch atah Adonai, Hamelech, Hamelech, Hamelech Adonai.
Page 54. In your love, eternal our God, you have given us this day of remembrance, a day for the shofar's joyful sound, a day of sacred assembly, a day to be mindful of our people's going out from Egypt. Together, our God and God of the generations before us, may a memory of us ascend and come before you. May it be heard and seen by you.
winning your favor and reaching your awareness, together with the memory of our ancestors, the memory of your sacred city, Jerusalem, and the memory of your people, the family of Israel. May we be remembered for safety, well-being, and favor, for love and compassion, for life and for peace on this day of remembrance.
Zochreinu Adonai Eloheinu bo l'tova, u'vodenu bo livracha, u'hoshienu bo l'chayim. Eternal our God, remember us, be mindful of us, and redeem us for a life of goodness and blessing. Amen. We continue praying silently now through page 70, and you can be seated when your prayers are finished. about the Oseh Shalom in this prayer book. You may have noticed that there's a new line in the Hebrew. It says, Ve'al kol Yisrael, and then Ve'al kol Yoshvei Tevet, which is so beautiful because it works poetically. And what it does is it asks that we're asking for peace not only for Israel, not only for our people, but for all the inhabitants of the earth. Kol Yoshvei Tevel, all the inhabitants of the earth. And you'll see that that line is going to be added at the end of the Kaddish as well, because the Kaddish ends with Oseh Shalom. So be prepared for those new words and know that even as you stumble over them, they have a beautiful universal meaning to them. So we ask that the Maker of peace above make peace for us, all Israel, and all who dwell on earth. Amen. And we ask for wholeness of body and mind and spirit with our Mishabera prayer. And you'll find the words in another section of the book, way back on page 245. And it has been quite a year. I mean, every year there's illness, and every illness is something that we worry about. But I have to say, it's been quite a year. I'll just put it that way. And usually on the high holidays, I don't read the Mishabera list. You know, just to save a little time, honestly, right? But I'm not doing that tonight. We're going to read the names. And then I'll definitely want to turn to you to add any other names of people you are thinking of. So we are praying for Wendy Bass Robb, Rose Madnick, Beth Gottlieb, Anita Makatanua, Miriam Swidler, Iris Sklar, Joanne Price, Saul Meller, Kenneth Schneider, David Clark, Stuart Walker, Sam Rosenblum, Charles Savitt, Terry Duran, Carol Burson, Nancy Schwam, John DiNicola, Peggy Tunick, Harvey Redak, and Reagan Konecki. And if there are other names you'd like to say for healing, you can say them out loud or inwardly as my eyes scan the room.
John Line.
Margot Caldwell.
Lord.
We turn now to page 74 and we rise for Avinu Malkeinu. And we invite Marilyn and Jean Howlett to the lead us. Avinu Malkeinu, strong was the faith of generations before us. In exile, they proclaimed enduring hope. In the shadow of persecution, they affirmed a transcendent love and compassion. Ours is a different age, less confident and certain, more tentative in its trust. There are many who say to the works of their hands, "You are our gods." But when our worship centers on our own creations, we feel less gratitude, more doubt and despair. This is the paradox of our spiritual lives. We grow smaller in self-exaltation, nobler when we reach for you. On this night of return, let us find the humility to come close to you and open ourselves to your presence. For you are absent only when we fail to make room for you in our hearts, distant only when we turn away from you. Now, as others have done before us, let us overcome doubt and speak these words of affirmation. We call you Avinu. As loving parent, forgive our wrongs and failings, accept us in our human frailty. We call you Malkeinu. As sovereign of our souls, help us rise from our brokenness to build a world of shalom. To this vision, we offer ourselves anew. Please join me in the Hebrew or in the English both. Avinu Malkeinu, Ein lanu melech ela ata. Avinu Malkeinu, almighty and merciful, you alone are our sovereign. Avinu Malkeinu, lema'ancha rachem aleinu. Avinu Malkeinu, for your sake, show us mercy. Avinu Malkeinu, aseh imanu lema'an shemecha. Avinu Malkeinu, act toward us as befits your name. Avinu Malkeinu, shalach rufu'ah shlema l'cholei amecha. Avinu Malkeinu, bring healing and wholeness to the ill among us. Avinu Malkeinu, kara roa gazar dinenu. Avinu Malkeinu, allay the harshness of the decree against us. Avinu Malkeinu, kotvenu b'sefer ge'ulah v'yishua. Avinu Malkeinu, inscribe us in the book of redemption and renewal. Avinu Malkeinu, zochrenu b'zichron tov lefanecha. Avinu Malkeinu, remember our goodness and call it to mind. Avinu Malkeinu, aseh lema'ancha v'hoshienu. Avinu Malkeinu, act for your sake and save us. Avinu Malkeinu, shema kolenu. Avinu Malkeinu, almighty and merciful, hear our voice. Avinu Malkeinu, chatanu lefanecha. Avinu Malkeinu, we have strayed and sinned before you. Avinu Malkeinu, chamol aleinu va'aval aleinu v'tapenu. Avinu Malkeinu, have compassion on us and our families. Avinu Malkeinu, kalei dever v'cherev v'ra'a me'aleinu. Avinu Malkeinu, halt the onslaught of sickness, violence, and hunger. Avinu Malkeinu, kalei kol tsar umastin me'aleinu. Avinu Malkeinu, halt the reign of those who cause pain and terror. Avinu Malkeinu, kotvenu b'sefer chayim tovim. Avinu Malkeinu, enter our names in the book of lives well lived. Avinu Malkeinu, Chadesh Aleinu, Shana Tova. Avinu Malkeinu, renew for us a year of goodness. Avinu Malkeinu, Chaneinu V'Aneinu, Yeh Banu Ma'aseh. Aseh Imanu, Tzedakah, V'Chesed, V'Hushiyeh. Avinu Malkeinu, almighty and merciful, answer us with grace, for our deeds are wanting. Save us through acts of justice and law. I want to open my remarks tonight with a story. This story was written by Ruth Calderon, an Israeli Talmud scholar and former member of Knesset, with whom I had the pleasure of studying this summer in Israel. And the piece that she wrote is closely based on a surprising passage from the Talmud, and Calderon has embellished it and developed the characters much more extensively than the original passage. So I offer you this story. Rabbi Chia Bar Ashi lies on the stone floor, spread-eagled. He is praying. It is market day, and his wife is out. He enjoys being alone in an empty house. Only this way does he find peace. It is strange, since the whole world lies open to him, the study house, the courtroom. She, his wife, is quiet and earnest, always in her corner between the stove and the oven, dressed in a kerchief and a gown. Twice a week, on Mondays and Thursdays, she leaves home to go to the market. May the merciful one save me from the evil impulse, he utters his usual prayer. He seeks to ward off untoward thoughts. He prays with great fervor and concentration until his heart pulses to the rhythm of his prayers. One day, his wife returned home early and unexpectedly. When she left home in the morning, he was standing in prayer, wrapped in his tefillin. Shortly thereafter, she realized she had forgotten the basket for fish and came back to retrieve it. In any case, she returned at that very moment when he did not intend for anyone to see him. He thought he had the house all to himself when he cried, "Save me from the evil impulse! Save me from the evil impulse!" She was shocked to discover her husband prostrated on the floor. And to think, she mused, for several years he has not been intimate with me. What evil impulse could he possibly be so afraid of? A sense of hurt and suspicion flared up inside her. Was there another woman? She crept out of the room quietly and retreated to a side room. She stood in front of the mirror, passing her hand over the lines of her face. Her reflection was like that of an elderly woman. Her kerchief was drawn tightly over the forehead, concealing her hair. Her eyes were sunken, deep wrinkles lined both sides of her nose. Each Friday evening, she would hope for him to approach her bed. But each Friday evening, she was once again disappointed. She fled outside and walked distraught all the way to the market. The color fled from her pale cheeks and her heart beat rapidly. She thought only of her pain and shame. When she returned home, her face was restored to its natural color. She set a pot to boil on the stove, rinsed fruits and vegetables, preserved the leftover quinces, sliced cucumbers for pickling. All the while, she concocted a plan. On Thursday, she set out for the market as usual, early in the morning. But instead of turning toward the western part of the market where her fellow housewives made their way among the stalls, she continued on as if in a daze. She headed in the direction of the caravans, toward the foreign vendors whose stalls lay beyond the bounds of a proper woman. These vendors came from afar and sold clothes, spices, and jewelry. Bangles jingled on their ankles. She approached and with clenched hands she counted out her coins. She handed over half the money reserved for fruit and all the money set aside for fish, as well as the small sum she saved from week to week to buy a new cloth for the Sabbath table. As if in a dream, she selected a dress, jewels, sandals, and a belt, as well as a bundle of myrrh. She unfolded her sack and placed everything inside, and then left without saying a word. At an earlier hour than usual, she set her steps toward home. Nothing felt normal. The world was awry. She hummed to herself until she came to the alley leading to their house. In a secluded corner, she stepped into the revealing dress, fastened the belt, freed her long hair from its kerchief, tied a dangling jewel around her wrist and a bangle around her ankle. She tied the bundle of myrrh around her neck. After she finished dressing, she applied eyeshadow to her eyelids with an unpracticed hand. When she approached the cistern in the yard, she saw the face of a different woman entirely reflected in the water. The face of Libertina of Babylon. She who instilled fear in all married women. I am Libertina, she whispered. May the merciful one save you. At that very moment, Rabbi Chia Bar Ashi was studying in the garden. A light breeze fluttered the branches of the pomegranate and olive trees. The Mishnah he was learning was difficult, and his mind was unfocused. Suddenly, he looked up and saw the image of a woman. And what a woman she was! Who are you? He asked, spellbound. I am Libertina, she replied indulgently, enjoying the game. She was surprised to find that the rituals of courtship came naturally to her. She made her way toward him in the garden, at once close and distant, familiar and foreign. I'm afraid I have to skip a steamy scene here, but you can use your imagination. It's in the Talmud. When he caught his breath again, she ordered that he bring her a pomegranate from the top branch. He did not dare refuse her. His legs were covered in scratches from the tree branches, and when he climbed down, the branch beneath him broke and he tumbled down after it. She took the fruit from his hand. That's actually the steamy part in the Talmud. You can sort of extrapolate from it, okay? When he limped to the house, his wife was already lighting the oven. He was conscious of his torn clothing and the scratches on his arms. He worried that the scent of Libertina clung to his hair, which was still disheveled, even after he combed through it with his fingers. His heart and soul felt undone, too. There was no way to take back what he had done. He was consumed by guilt. He looked over at the bench beside the oven, which seemed suddenly so inviting. He cast a parting glance at the good woman who had borne him his children, who had once made his heart dance when he peered at her through the lattice from the men's section of the synagogue. The fire in the oven burned high and red. He entered the oven and sat inside. With her two strong arms, she reached into the oven and pulled out his faint body. When he awoke, his legs were wrapped in rags, soaked in ointment. She asked quietly, "Why?" For a moment, he remained silent. And then he told her the whole story. She listened calmly. And when he finished, she said, "It was I." He knew this was his opportunity for love, even redemption, but he averted his glance. "But in any case, my intention was to transgress," he said. She raised her arm as if to object, and her wrist jingled. She unfastened the jeweled bangle and placed it on the table before her. Surprising to find such a story in a 2,000-year-old rabbinic text. And it's so familiar. Not a Hollywood story of boy meets girl, boy and girl overcome many obstacles to be together, boy marries girl. Here, the rabbis tell a mundane story of what happens many years after the wedding. After the excitement of courtship, after the birth of children. The husband and wife are now too familiar with each other. The passion has faded. And yet, the story gives us hope. During the scene in the garden, we see that it is possible to breathe new life into what has grown old. On Rosh Hashanah, this is what we are prompted to consider. How have we grown old? Not necessarily in age, but in how we meet ourselves, each other, and the world. Where are we stuck? What can we make new again? In this story, Rabbi Chia is stuck doing what he thinks a pious man is expected to do. He devotes himself to repressing his passion, what he sees as an evil impulse, through obsessive prayer. And the Talmud critiques him for doing this. It shows how his piety has created a distance between himself and his wife, whom he loves. On the other hand, the wife, whose real name we will never know, takes a risk. She tests her own limits and the limits that society places on her as a devoted aging housewife. She heeds a wake-up call when she witnesses her husband on the floor groveling in prayer. And for one afternoon, she takes leave of the expected. She doesn't skimp her money to buy a Shabbat tablecloth or smelly fish. Instead, she splurges on clothes for herself and fragrant perfume. And by diving into the unknown, she pursues the possibility of bringing new energy to her worn-out life. It is no coincidence that the couple's passionate meeting takes place outside among fruit trees. In rabbinic literature, the orchard is a place of transformation, where boundaries can be tested and where there is potential for new fruit. I don't think, by the way, that this story is advocating adultery. Instead, it provokes us to consider how we might transform ourselves by leaving the security and comfort of what is known within the relationships and within the life that we already inhabit. It wakes us up to consider where we are stuck. It also shows how the energy that we may perceive as an evil impulse can be channeled, breathing new life into deadness. Libertina in the Talmud is the name of a famous prostitute from Babylon. But for the purpose of this story, Libertina is meant to be understood as the liberated one, the one who is not stuck and certainly not dead, neither in body or in spirit. Libertina comes to test others to liberate themselves. ultimately, this story is about fear. The fear of taking leave of where we are and of stepping into what could be, who we could be. Rabbi Alan Lew, may his memory be for blessing, writes about two different kinds of fear, pachad and yirah. Pachad is the fear of taking leave of whatever it is that is holding us back. Yirah is the combination of fear and awe, which we encounter in the act of leave-taking. Pachad is the fear of leaving the familiar Egypt. Yirah is the fear of the unknown expanse that lies before us, the wilderness. Pachad is what led the Israelites as they were fleeing Egypt, Pharaoh's army coming after them, to cry out and complain, "Weren't there enough graves in Egypt that you had to take us out here to the desert to die? Isn't this exactly what we were talking about in Egypt when we said, 'Let us be and we'll serve the Egyptians, because it is better to serve the Egyptians than to die in the desert'?" Alan Lew writes, "This is the critical moment and extremely familiar to each of us. We are stuck. We are being pressed. Pharaoh's army is coming after us, and there's nowhere to go but into the sea. One of our children is failing in school, or in life, or in both, and we have no idea how to help them. The bills must be paid, but we don't have enough money in the bank to pay them. We love our spouse desperately, but our marriage continues to deteriorate no matter what we do or how hard we try to make things better. Our job is driving us into a deep depression, and we just don't feel that we can go on, but we don't know how we could make ends meet, how we could support our family without it. We have to do something, and we have no idea what to do, so we panic." Rabbi Chia is driven by his pachad to walk into the other and flee from the opportunity to renew his connection with his wife. He panics. Whereas she stands at the stove, pickling the cucumbers and preserving the quinces. This wife is somehow able to work through her pachad and then see clearly what she must do to revive the marriage. Liberation, or libertina, emerges after we stay still for a while with the pachad until it subsides. Then we can see clearly that the next step must be forward into the sea. We take that step, trembling with yirah, with a new kind of fear that is really awe. Awe at what is actually possible. Alan Lew continues, "I think there is an even deeper fear operating here, and that is the fear of our own power. We get used to living without power and without love. We come to believe that this is how our lives should be. We become comfortable within the confines of these limitations. They surround us like the walls of a womb. When our real strength begins to declare itself, when the intensity of love presents itself to us, we are torn out of this comfortable cocoon. This is a frightening experience, and if our courage fails us, we will choose to live without our full power, without passionate intensity. We will settle for something that feels safer and more comfortable. Better to settle for a life that seems easier to hold." As we see in the story, when we adhere too closely to what we've grown to expect of ourselves, rather than choosing to become who we could be, we actually risk a kind of death. Not a literal death, but the death of our most precious relationships, or the death of our own spirit. For the wife, the sight of her husband groveling on the floor is a wake-up call. For Rabbi Chia, the wake-up call is the impulse to take his own life. On this Rosh Hashanah, and at any moment, each of us is invited to hear our own wake-up call. Perhaps we hear it in the voice of a spouse, or in the voice of a child or a parent. Perhaps we hear it in our own hearts, or in the sound of the shofar. In this new year, we are called to take leave of those places where we have become stuck or stale or dead. In this new year, we are called to take leave of the fear that keeps us from changing. In this new year, Libertina calls us to step forward from the fear of what is known into the awe and the power of the unknown. We turn now to Kiddush, which you'll find on page 78. And I have a little bit of a surprise for all of you, but specifically for our president, Stephen Davis. I want to ask you to come up here, Stephen, if you wouldn't mind. Trust me. I'll let you sit down after, and then you'll get up again for announcements, so you know what's coming. So, come on. I have a gift for the congregation that I found in Jerusalem, and I wanted to present it to you so that you could hold the cup during Kiddush. And I found this cup that has these colors that reminded me of our ark, and I thought we could use a shiny new one. So this is, for this whole congregation, a gift from me, from my heart, and I hope you'll use it with joy for many celebrations in the future. So please rise for Kiddush. Lift this cup for the year that is gone, for mountaintop moments and the taste of joy. Celebrations shared, milestones met, all we've mastered and achieved since last we met. For wedding rings, tears and kisses under the chuppah, new babies, first words and first steps. For the children who bless our homes and bring life to our community. For B'nai Mitzvah and confirmands, young teachers of this holy congregation, ours to cherish and guide with love. For beloved wives and husbands, sisters and brothers, for loyal friends who grow more precious with each passing year. For this community which nourishes us all. For all we've learned, for all we've struggled through, for challenges surmounted, and disappointments met with courage. For last moments shared with those we loved and lost. For parents and grandparents whose memories are with us forever. We lift this cup for the year that is gone, for the year that begins. May we meet it in strength, in unity, in hope. We lift life's cup and celebrate survival, so may we sanctify each day that is ours.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, Orei b'riatatem.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bachar banu mikol ha'am, v'romanu mikol hashon, v'kishanu b'mitzvotav. V'tzitem lanu Adonai Eloheinu b'ahava, et yom hazikaron rozeh, yom Teruah v'ikra kodesh, zecher l'tziat Mitzrayim. V'anu b'chata v'yotanu v'kidasha v'kol ha'amim, v'barachah v'tefelah la'ad, Baruch atah Adonai, melech haol ha'aretz, mekadesh Yisrael. Melech haol ha'aretz, mekadesh Yisrael. Melech haol ha'aretz, mekadesh Yisrael. V'yom hazikaron. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, she'ehyanu v'kiyamanu v'hiyanu
Thank you on behalf of this whole congregation. It will remind us, I think, not only of the art, but of your beautiful song.
You may be seated. Going to rise again in a few moments. Getting used to this prayer book and the ups and the downs. So, on page 81, Rabbi Israel Salanter once spent the night at a shoemaker's home. Late at night, he saw the man working by the light of a flickering candle. "Look how late it is," the rabbi said. "Your candle is about to go out. Why are you still working?" The shoemaker replied, "As long as the candle is burning, it is still possible to mend." For weeks afterward, Rabbi Salanter was heard repeating the shoemaker's words to himself. As long as the candle is burning, it is still possible to mend. As long as the candle burns, as long as the spark of life still shines, we can mend and heal, seek forgiveness and reconciliation, begin again. We rise for Aleinu, page 82, and we invite up Donald and Andrea Bartel. Oh, they're there. Look at that. I love my goblins.
Aleinu neshabeach l'Adon ha'kol, l'teikuda Yosef Bereshit, shelo asanu b'nei ha'ratzon, velo samanu k'mishkavot ha'adama, shelo sam Elokeinu kahem, v'gomor aleinu k'echol hamonam.
You may be seated. on page 85. It is a time not be distant, our God, when all shall turn to you in love, when corruption and evil shall give way to integrity and goodness, when lies and bigotry shall no longer enslave the mind, nor idolatry blind the eye. So may all created in your image become one in spirit and one in friendship, forever united in your service. Then shall your realm be established on earth, and the word of your prophet fulfilled. Adonai will reign forever and Our thoughts turn now to loved ones whom death has taken from us in recent days, and those who died at this season in years past. Our hearts open as well to the wider circles of loss in our community, and wherever grief touches the human family. Zichronam livracha, may their memories be a blessing this new year and always. Mourners and those who wish to join them are invited to rise now for Mourner's Cottage, page 9. Yitkadal, Yitkadash, Shemei Rabal, Alma, Divrach, Yiruteh, V'yamalech, Malchuteh, V'chayei and V'yomei and V'chayei Z'chol Beit Yisrael, V'agala, V'zman Kariv, V'yimru Amen. Shmei Rabba V'vorach Le'olam L'Ne'olam V'yitvarach V'yishtabach V'yitpahar V'yishramam V'yitnaseh V'yitadar V'yitaleh V'yithalal Shmei V'yishad B'richu Le'ela V'le'ela Mikol Birchata V'shirata V'yishvachata V'nechamata Za'amiran V'alma V'yimru Amen. Yehei Shlama Rabba V'yishemaya L'chaim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yimru Amen. L'seh shalom v'roma, u'yaseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'al kol yoshvei teva v'yimru Amen. May the source of peace bestow peace on all who mourn, and may we be a source of comfort to all who are bereaved. And we say, Amen.
Amen.
policy and our closing song, just want to invite Stephen Davis up again for a few announcements.
It's hard to come right after that beautiful music, but Shana Tova. Shana Tova, and welcome back to this sacred space. We have, of course, a new prayer mark. I want to thank the rabbi and cantor and choir for doing such a wonderful job. And we're all learning as we get through this, and it's a wonderful piece. So thank you. I want to just remind everyone that tomorrow's services begin at 9:30 here, and will be followed with Tashlich. So again, assuming the weather is fine, we'll be on the ferry, and with everything that you need to dispose of sin. That should be wonderful. So come to that. We have children's service tomorrow at 3 o'clock and family program at 2 o'clock. So that's all on tomorrow, the first day of Rosh Hashanah. On Tuesday, the second day, services will begin at 9:30. Also, one thing just to keep in mind, tomorrow we'll be handing out bags, and we would ask everyone, if you can, to fill them with groceries, non-perishables. And of course, we will be collecting them, and on Yom Kippur, we'll be trying to fill a big truck right outside and fill it as full as we can. So please do come with all the food that you can bring. I think that's the main. Yeah, that's it for now. We'll have more announcements for tomorrow. Thank you, Shana.
So we will conclude with Ein Eloheinu, page 95. You'll know the words, you may not know this melody. It's a pretty fun melody.
Hey,
sing too.
God bless you and keep you. May God's face shine upon you and be gracious to you. May God's presence always be near you and grant you peace. And as we head out for some honey cake, Baruch atah
Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz.
Shana Tova, sweet and a happy year.
And the prayer books, do you read them?
I think prayer books should go back out on that front table. Thank you, George.
Oh, okay.
Happy New Year.
Yeah. Hi, Edwin.
I'm collecting.
Oh, you're glad?
But I'll shake your hand
Good to
too.
see you again.
You are such a good
What are these blue sheets for? I like the new lighting in here. Like the show? I want to fight. Get it through the facilities. 14 extra hours of meetings. And then they finally said, you don't have our approval. They went ahead and did it.
Thank you, too. Thanks, you She did a good job, she said. It was a very nice. I didn't think I'd like the books. It was very nice. I hadn't really paid attention, but I said, oh. But it was very nice. I like some of the subtle shifts. And it's nice.